Hi everyone, Dr. Nemechek here. Want to touch on a nice little review paper about autonomic dysfunction in kids with autism and developmental or intellectual delay, as you can see here, the heading. The autonomic nervous system, just as a quick review, it has two branches. This graphic shows it interacting with all of the organs of the body. It controls immune system, emotions, hormones, metabolism, and importantly, blood pressure and heart rate regulation, which, as I've discussed in many of our other issues, these kids with autism, virtually all of them have low blood pressure in the brain called cerebral hypoperfusion. That is responsible for the vast majority of all of your negative behaviors. A lot of people haven't heard about this before. Other doctors aren't talking about this. So I just want to touch on just some highlights of this paper. I'll have the reference to this paper in the comment section so you can download it and review it yourself. But basically, here, the autonomic nervous system, so its primary job is to mobilize energy through the sympathetic branch, and it supports recovery through the parasympathetic branch. And the parasympathetic branch is also, think of the vagus nerve, and our vagus nerve stimulator helps support that. The HPA axis, that's basically your pituitary, is for kind of long-term stress response, and these things work together. Now, the two main mechanisms that drive stress. First is the sympathetic nervous system activation triggering fight or flight reactions, okay? Sympathetic nervous system, that's a sub-branch of the autonomics, okay? Triggering a fight or flight response. And that's high blood pressure, heart rate, dilated pupils, stuff like that. The second, so you get this response to stress, and then the second mechanism is the parasympathetics that through the vagus nerve help to calm you back down. So you react to stress through the sympathetic, you calm down with the parasympathetics. And again, that's part of the reason why we use the VNS, and we get a lot of calming with that. But when you look at all these studies, and there's about 20 different studies they were pooling together to come through all of this, is that they found you basically end up where you have this over sympathetic response, so it takes very little to drive that sympathetic response, all right, and that you don't get used to these responses. There is no habituation, okay? It's just this overriding response, and that you have a weakened parasympathetic branch that cannot downregulate. And that's what you see in these kids. You see hyperactivity, you see transitional problems, you see aggression, you see they can't sleep, you see elopement in the classroom. All of this is sympathetic hyperactivity, okay, without the parasympathetics calming them down. All right? And it's not only that it's overactive, as they say down here, children show a stronger response compared to typical developmentally kids. So for the same reactivity, it takes less to trigger it in autism, okay, than it does in normal kids. In terms of the brief point on the pituitary, the axis, when they looked at all these studies, there's no real pattern there. That doesn't seem to be the problem. It's all about autonomic nervous system hyperactivity and imbalance. And the Nemechek protocol was originally designed to restore autonomic nervous system function in adults. We actually got a patent for that, and that's why it is so effective in these kids. Okay, that's all for today. You could download this paper, review it in more detail on your own, but that's why is what's going on with your kids. It's all about the autonomics, and you can restore autonomic function by reducing inflammation. Everybody, take care, and till next time, this is Dr. Nemechek saying have a nice day.